what is self-awareness, and why would we want to work to attain it? What good is it going to do us? Well, self-awareness is called also living in the present moment, be here now, kind of a new age thing. It's a way of moving beyond our programmed things that we've been programmed to do, literally programmed. In our case, we were born into a family. We go to school. We graduate. We graduate, and we go to work, or the wife stays home, or whatever, and then we retire, and then we die. So that's a narrative that we live. And if you think about it, which some people do, they go, what am I doing here? I'm just going to live this life, which includes a lot of pain, and then I'm going to die. And then you're told at death, the science tells you there's nothing, you're just, we don't know, you're just going to die. We won't exist anymore, probably. And Christianity tells you that you'll go to heaven and meet Jesus. Well, but that's an abstract thing that doesn't, you shouldn't just accept that without getting details. And Jesus would give you the details if you were to ask him. And so Jesus is an elevated being. But the other religions, Hinduism and Buddhism, they have a better sense of what happens. And they know that when you die, you come back, you reincarnate and come back again as another individual. And you keep living these storylines. They're like books on a shelf. You pick up this book, okay, this happens, and it comes to a close, and then I put that back, I pick up this, but now I'm somebody else. And you just live through these various storylines, one after the next, endlessly. And then you slowly you come to start to question this, and why you're living these endless story. Oh, well, you don't even know they're endless. This particular storyline, and that's when you start looking at other possibilities, and you learn about metaphysics, reincarnation, which Hindus and Buddhists already know about. And so you find that you're gonna, when you die, you're going to reincarnate into another person, and that's the only thing you can do because you haven't done your homework, and you haven't. And the fact is, you're not living in the present. If you live in the present, you'll break the cycle of rebirth. This is the whole point. When you wake up to the fact that you're living out these endless narratives, one after the next, but you only know that you're living the one, you're in the middle of that one. You're actually kind of just half-stepping it. You're not really going anywhere. You're slowly becoming a little more self-aware, but not so much. But then when you finally start to wake up and wonder about what you're doing here, and why you're here, who you really are, that's when you'll start making progress, and at some point we can break the cycle of rebirth. And we can break the cycle of rebirth individually and collectively. A collective mind can change the narrative. Just like Hindus and Buddhists, they believe in reincarnation. We don't. We think we just live and then we die and we go to Jesus, or that's the end of it. But we're actually eternal beings, so we don't die. And suffering is unnecessary. It's only necessary because because we're blind and we are not properly applying our mind. So what we do as a blind person, or who's asleep or dead, as Jesus said, we just go along, doing our normal things that we're supposed to do. And one thing that Jesus said was that let the dead bury the dead. When somebody said, I got to go back and bury my father, he says, follow me. He doesn't mean me. He means follow the self. rise above the physical world. And when that time comes, you need to do it. And so now if you start to focus your mind or understand your thoughts, why they're there, what they are, and start trying to control them, I guess, but not to suppress thoughts. Don't attach to them. Let the thoughts flow. That's what Buddhists learn on meditation. Just let the thoughts flow. Don't suppress and don't hold on to them. But when you see a thought coming, okay, there's a thought, and let it go. And then you'll eventually quiet the mind, and the mind will become more stable and able to feel this moment, because this moment is all that exists. The past is memory. The past is memory, nothing else. You lose your memory, you were never born. And that's actually why we believe this is our first life, because we lost our memory coming in. We were never existed before now because we have no memory of it. Your memory is important. And so, but there are some people who do have such a memory. And I'm not one, but I can communicate with people who do have memory of past lives. They tend to be more of the younger generation right now, because they've been learning new things, the New Age spirituality and all that. Their parents learned it, and so they don't beat it out of them that they don't hear voices, don't have past life memories. So and then now the future also doesn't exist. Also, the future is what we imagine. We imagine future things. But we tend to just be erratic, and we're not trying to control it. Present moment awareness means controlling our thoughts and guiding them in a certain way that will bring us towards what we want. Now, what we want, first, everything, what we most want is to end suffering, our suffering. And you don't realize just that's important until you do suffer. And Jane Roberts Seth Matera, a metaphysical author, Seth said that the only reason to have suffering is to learn that you don't need suffering. And so, C.S. Lewis, a Christian author, he thought you needed suffering to strengthen the soul, but then he suffered when he found a woman he loved who was dying of cancer. And so he changed, my understanding is he changed his mind on that once you suffer, you learn you don't need suffering. And the only reason for suffering is to wake you up to that you're not steering your own ship. There's nobody at the wheel. There's no captain. There's nobody at the rudder, because you're not at the rudder of your own mind. This is self-awareness. Self-awareness, you go, oh, I've got to control my future through my past history, through understanding my past history, and guide it into a new age. For Seth, this is the new age of Aquarius. It's a alignment of the planets and things. But so this is an age where enlightenment will come. And so we're working towards that. The Seth material I'm not really trying to push the Seth material, except that it's the best information I've ever read. So that's why I'm pushing it. But according to Seth, we are entering a new age where even people who don't have a good understanding, don't feel they can learn these things, they're too far behind. We change the conventional narrative. And then our thoughts, the thoughts of those who are hopeless, maybe hopelessly, following the predetermined narrative. Well, the predetermined narrative can move us to a better pathway. This is the pathway of the age of Aquarius. I got to take a drink here because I got a dry throat. Okay, so this is why we want to become self-aware, and we can. And we can even if we do it a little bit, we can still help change the narrative and move it to the point where we don't need suffering, we don't need death, because death is suffering also. We suffer when someone dies, someone we love dies. And we don't need that because we're eternal beings. And we need only not lose our memories. And that's what Parkinson's disease is, and Alzheimer's, and dementia. Those are just designer names given to the natural process of us losing our memories as we're moving in old age, as we're moving towards coming into a new narrative. We don't need those. We don't need those memories anymore, particularly names. You might forget the name of your children, your wife, and I know this. I'm experienced it where you know them, you feel them, you know who they are, but you're moving into into the next spiritual plane where you're going to learn that you've had relationships with these people in all kinds of situations. You might have been their mother or their father or your children. This is something Jesus said too. Who are my mother and my brothers and sisters? They're you out there, and he's literally saying that. That's not just a feel good thing. He knows that these people have been his brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, granddaughters, grandmothers, and they come in very different situation. They're very different people because they come in under a different situation. I've got information that my grandmother, who was very conservative, came back as a Pete's coffee barista, who was really very very liberal, tattoos, things all over, and it's the same entity, the same personality, returning to re-experience life in another way. So we shouldn't be afraid of this. We should welcome it, and if we can do this in a way where we're adding to a changing narrative, conventional narrative, then we'll find things opening up to everybody. You don't need to get left behind. Nobody needs to be left behind. And you should also remember that the Indian population, India and other Hindus and Buddhists, Chinese Buddhists, there's Buddhists in, I think, Nepal and in Sri Lanka. I knew someone who was from Sri Lanka who was Buddhist. They know these things, and they can be of help to us. They know because they've been told about reincarnation. And us, the Western society, we think we're so smart, but in some ways we are, because we've created these forms all surrounding me. There's nothing natural in what I have here, right? Nothing natural. Everything is man-made. Well, man-made forms have a foundation of mind. They're mental constructs, as is everything. But they're all made from life. Life puts these puts these ideas into what we call physical form. But physical form, solid objects, are a mental construct. Without mind, there's nothing. There's no solid objects. It's like when you turn your computer off, all the solid objects on your computer go away. So I'm not comparing that with computers, because computers are a part of mind too. So mind actually creates the computers. They're also mind, and AI comes from the inner spirit. So some God, who's the inner spirit, creates the essence of the inner spirit, creates the physical world and all that's in it. And so what we should do is pay attention to this moment. And you can meditate right now. You could meditate right now. Well, it's a little bit hard while you're watching a video, if you're watching it. But if you're daydreaming, you could meditate. And but you should actually try to watch the video or flip it to when you like. You can you can meditate while you're doing things. If you have to use your mind, it's a little more difficult. But you can use your mind to say, okay, I have to focus on this subject. I got to do my taxes. I got to do something. I've got to write a letter. And then so you focus on writing that letter. And when you're done writing that letter, you refocus your mind. Okay, I finished the letter. Now I'm back in the present moment. And you keep thinking that way, and you'll find you're making progress. I think there's more to say, but I'm not quite sure how to say it right now. So I hope you learned something, and I will be seeing you again. Thank you.